At a house in Randallstown, Baltimore County police say a woman was shot and killed after she threatened officers with a gun while holding a
5-year-old in her arms. Tension turned to tragedy on Silky Court in Randallstown.
We discharged one round at her. In turn, she fired several rounds back at us.
Police say Gaines was pointing a shotgun at them and had a 5-year-old boy in her arm. That's when a man in the apartment took off with a 1-year-old boy and a standoff with a woman.
And police have not yet determined if any of the officers involved were wearing body cameras. Body cameras. Body cameras.
When you put your hands on me, I promise you, you will have to murder me. You will have to murder me. So go ahead and get ready to do that. You will have to kill me. I promise.
What's happening right now? Who's outside?
Shalom, all praises, honor and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. I'm kind of doing some sort of a response video or informative video dealing with this young lady that got gunned down by the police. Her name is Corinne Gaines, if I'm not mistaken, and she's from Randallstown, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, which is the city of Randallstown, which is literally maybe 15 minutes from me. So I've been out Randallstown and even lived out that way. So, and I know basically how the police, the police are out there, man. They make most of their arrests off traffic stops, and I know that for a fact. I absolutely know that for a fact because I go out that way often. And when I go out there, if you're a so-called black male, mainly, you're going to be profiled, as in various other places in the country. But out there is pretty heavy, So you got to make sure you have everything straight which you should, technically. But anyway, I like to go into this because this situation here with this young lady, okay, she really had no respect for the authority, but at the same time, she had the anger against the police department and the way the system is designed and set up. But also at the same time, she doesn't realize we're in a police state. She don't realize who our enemy is. Okay, so all these so-called black movement, Black Lives Matter, and all these movements, so-called movements, which I follow the so-called Israelite movement, but all these so-called Black Lives movements, they're not going to do nothing. They're not going to do nothing. This so-called white man and his power structure. We're talking about starting with these elites, these elite bankers, the Rothschild, Rockefellers, all these top elites, man. This is their power structure, and what they want is a new world order. Okay, and with these gun control laws and with these things you're seeing happen, it's just amazing that all these things are just happening back to back to back. So you would have to question, is some of this set up? But it's definitely something to be examined. So I'm gonna go to Isaiah 13, and I'm gonna start at about 14. And it shall be as a chase road, because we back everything up to scriptures showing that this is prophecy. Okay, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, that they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. So that's actually starting, with race wars. You're going to have the so-called blacks against the whites and this and that. But what you're going to have, which is unusual, you're going to have so-called blacks, Hispanics, and then those native tribes kind of getting together. And you also may have some people who look like white people who will be joining some of these type of situations, so to speak. Because we believe, as a Great Millstone, we also believe that there's people who look like white people who are still Israelites. Okay, so that spirit is going to bear witness even on the left-hand side. Okay, and this goes on to say, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them. Now you got to ask yourself, who's them? Everybody who who doesn't want to follow the truth, the law, statutes, and commandment that the Bible set up for you, you're going to die. You're going to die. And that's just the bottom line. As I said before in previous videos, you're not going to beat, America's military. You're just not going to beat it. It took down the countries. Basically, it's got 180 something, 87 embassies or so forth. How do you think we shall overcome Black Lives Matter? Your revolutionists are going to beat that, man. Got news for you. Even a lot of those so-called Edomites, white people, who are going to try to stand up and fight against the government. Man, they got the technology. So what we say as Israelites is, wait upon the Lord. He put us in this condition. You got to wait on the Lord for us to get out of this condition. So this is also proving that everybody who's not an Israelite, about a bloodline, the spirit, who is not of the elect of Israel, they're going to die, man. And that's the bottom line. They're going to die. It goes on to say, I'm going to go into 18. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And that's also going to come as well. I mean, when the so-called white man took America, that's what he did. Okay? I mean, this military, man, this hell is about to break loose. And this young lady, if she understood who she was, and a lot of these so-called Negroes, I'm going to be politically correct, if they understood who they were, okay, this wouldn't be an issue for them. She wouldn't be sitting there so-called loading up a gun. Okay, and who knows what kind of tactics this government is using to try to enforce new gun regulations. Who knows, man? A lot of stuff could be set up. I mean, who knows? But clearly there was a situation here, and you can't get around that, man. All these prophecies are happening. Okay. Let's go to second narrative. So I'm going to go to 6 verse 20. I'm going to go to 6 verse 20. Okay, it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. See, you got to understand there's different worlds. Everybody keeps saying the end of the world, but the earth will still be here. Okay, the world ended on several occasions. You had the flood. But then you have societies where the world ends, okay? And that's why you have the New World Order, these elites who's trying to crash this world to bring in a new world. That's why they call it a New World Order, because there was an old world, okay? And it goes on to say, then shall I shew these tokens, the book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together, which all the elect of Israelites, Israel is going to see all together. And that's what we see. It's all starting to transpire, and it's starting to take place. Verse 21 is the second Ezra 6 and 21. And the children of the year old shall speak with their voices. The woman with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. Now, when you even go into looking at us, before we knew the truth, we came in and boom, we start knowing. And in lightning speed, the Lord is delivering it to us, man. He delivered us this knowledge at lightning speed. Okay? I mean, it's taken us months, as opposed to when we learned in the so-called American school system. It took 12 years for you to get on a level to know something on how to survive in the world or whatever, so-called, or to know things. But when you're a man of the Lord, He sends it to you like at lightning fast speeds, man, like fire, so to speak. Okay. And it goes on to verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Okay, and this is going into the elect. Once the elect is sealed, this is what's going to start happening. And if not mistaken, the elect should be pretty much sealed. Okay. And it goes on to say, and suddenly the sown places shall appear unsown, like all your restaurants, your stores. You're looking at your blocks already. So, like when you go in impoverished neighborhoods, you look at the block. You got 5 houses boarded up in a row. You have businesses boarded up. All the prosperity of America is going down. When you look at the Detroit automotive industry, how that was flourishing, that's going down now. You look at the streets. I may even do a video on that. The infrastructure of America, they're working on every street you drive on. Okay, that's part of an unsown place. Okay, goes on to say the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. That's already happened in Venezuela. If anybody been keeping up on the news, okay, that's been happening in Venezuela. The storehouses unsown. The storehouses found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Okay, and that's literal, because when this place shut down, and a part of that trumpet sounding is when that usdebt.clock.org stops, and no more no more stock markets or exchanges. Nothing else is going to happen. When everything starts to become like frozen, then you're going to see where everybody's going to be afraid. Okay, and it goes on because it's going to show verse 24. And that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Okay, and the earth shall stand in fear of those that dwell therein. The springs of fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So you're going to have, there's a hard time coming. Okay, and this is just the beginning. And I'm going back on this young lady who got gunned down by the police. For you black women, so-called black women who think that you're exempt from getting gunned down by the police, well, the Lord has a death angel for you too, because you so-called black women, you're going to start seeing the same hell that the so-called black men are receiving. You're going to start receiving the same hell. Okay, they're going to let you then know, because what the society has already done is taken, and this is another video, I'm just going to tie it in. What society has done is taken the so-called black woman and Hispanic woman, and even, got news for you, some of the white women, and they took women in this feminist agenda and they put it over top of men. Everybody know women are meant to be led, are meant to be needed, okay, by their husbands. And kind of vice versa, a man might need a woman for pleasures and things like that, but for the most part, for life in general, a woman is needed by a man. But the minute you take a woman and you take that responsibility from a man, and you as the government give it to a woman, she's now not going to respect her man. And this is what you'll have. You'll have a bunch of angry, which I see, a bunch of angry, bitter, so-called black women running around with no respect, have children sitting right there while you're loading up guns, and then you expect that this man won't shoot you and kill you. Okay, if you're going to do something like that, you would think that they would make sure they get something off and make sure, hey, if I'm going to get killed, I'm going to kill. But these people just are stupid. They get guns, but you know what? They're supposed to do that. Okay, hey, the Lord set this young lady up to do this, to get killed. Okay, and this is all this is going to do. And in a sense, she did a good thing, because what this is going to do, this is going to really start showing people how the world really is. Because a lot of people are asleep, but really it's going to show the elect, because that's what we after, how the world really is and what we're dealing with. Okay, whosoever remaineth from all these that I've told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. So that's what we're looking for, the men of great millstone, and I'm gonna just say the men, the elect men of the Israelites. We're looking, and Lord willing, I'm the elect. We're looking for the end of this world, man. Because when you read up, verse 9 it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that that followeth. Okay, so since then Esau's still running the world. So to God, so people say Esau is done away with. Esau's still running the world. It's not the end of his world. First of all, for Esau to have to been done away with, he had to have the world at one time, right? But when he lost his rulership, starting about 187 AD, when he started losing his rulership, and we came into power for about 1,000 years, okay, Esau came back and took over. So basically, if once Jacob inherits the world, and the scripture says Esau is the end of the world, okay? Let me read that again. For Esau is the end of the world, okay? So the world haven't ended yet, okay? And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So first we have to have the world in. So if he's done away with, then that would have meant that had been the end of the world, correct? That means that would have been the end of the world. But when if so-called Esau was done away with, so why are we still here? Why the world is, as you see, still going? Because Esau was never done away with. So, and it goes on to say, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So, in order for this prophecy to be true, Esau would still have to be here. And when Jacob comes to power, which is the Israelites, for people who don't know, then that's when the world would be at rest. At this point, for Esau is the end of the world, that hadn't happened yet. The end of the world hasn't happened. We're still here. So if he was done away with, that means when he was done away with, that end of the world had happened, and that means that Jacob would have been the one that followed it. Okay? So I guess Jacob was only supposed to be running the world for 1,000 years, right? And then Esau coming back. But the scriptures don't say that. When you read the book of Obadiah, he said he will be stubble in the flame and will not come back forever. So, hey man, the Bible doesn't lie. The Bible doesn't lie. But I just wanted to make that point. Okay, I want to just say shalom.